Ranjan Linjidro, Zenzo Beje, Den Jombarvi, Pema Jonen Dale Yenzurjon, Gumbulu Dwarian Dewadan, Tome Nyen Cholan Chujinda, Chujun Janani Bozo, Zanlin Jenjo Namje Daejon, Konri de Garin Jenny Begulo, Dengun Jonga Vishazardo, Nimbu Denzi Bebe Nanjuruba. Chime Vesreja Jenda Ejon, Ridon Jamba Junu Jenole, Gumbilon Le Popeter Jendro, Londo Junzen Jamzen Owanger, Mibam Jambi Anjenda Ejon, Kongidala Ribala Vadan, Doji Denjeminga Nolazo, Labazada Ungurishan Labe, Muju Tinchen Lamenda Ejon, Namonguru, Chunimba Mendunje, Jezala Kunjaran Junduji Jimbedin, Duji Galaka Mendanawa. Palden la meja jenda ejon. Yende sanje kunda nyamna ya. Kadin sanje kunel habigun. Save la meja la zoande. Da sondrowe lamna chela anjur. Konda jujur dongi jidena. Deje lo marjur bakan soda. Tendir dambe cheje charbembe. Sembar deba tadan dirsheshe. Namarya damba. Laye gedan lo danu jinge. Endubum dad. Meganandan Dua Gunje Danam Jizambar Tamje Gedo Sosur Tejurji Majur Dua Namkada Nyambe Simjen Tamje Namdol Denji Dewa Lanameva Yanda Banzubi Sanji Jingu Waran Burchela Chine Jangu Brasha Dei Chedu Tigwa Chimbe Shonglu Jase Chanju Semba Shivala, the Nichi Zebe, Junju Deni, Tsushindu Sene, Yamsulang Warju, Yamdo Samba Chanju Cho, the Tujeva Danche de Sen Sal. So, first, that to have a right motivation in order to engage into the meritorious activity of teaching and listening the Mahayana scripture. And the right motivation here, it's considering generating the awakened mind, and which we could generate in this way, that for the sake of all the motherly sentient beings, in order to free them from cyclic existence of suffering and its cause, which is karma and afflictive emotions, and then to lead them complete enlightened stage. For this purpose, I'm going to listening this Mahayana scripture composed by Shantideva, the way of Bodhisattva's life, and then whatsoever I understood, I will going to implement it. With that kind of motivation, listen this teaching, and then also on the additional, while listening Dharma teaching, so listen carefully in an excellent way and try to implant the meaning and as well as the words. So with this preparation, listen this Dharma teaching. And the actual teaching itself has this 10th chapter with the 4 theme. So the 10th chapter, kind of like so 7 of them we already studied, and now we are studying the 8th chapter. And within this 8th chapter, we, among the 4 theme that which we are is already studied, the first and second theme, which is how to receive the Bodhisattva's vow within oneself and how to not to let transgress that vow, and which we already studied. And then now today here, third theme, that not just to not letting transgress, but also further that how one can improve or develop this Mahayana spiritual path or the Bodhisattva's vow, and ultimately until what level that one can develop or improve. And then to do that, and it requires mainly three conditions, which are the diligence, meditative concentration, and the wisdom. So the how to boost or kind of like a developed diligence within oneself, that which we already studied. And today we are studying that how to develop the meditative concentrations. And now, in order to develop the meditative concentrations, and one needs to understand the potential of meditative concentration and its contraries. It contraries which prevent us to develop meditative concentrations, which is the kind of like a physically not avoiding the crowdness, and mental not avoiding the distractions. In short, we can say the mundane, involving in mundane. So the mundane, clinging into mundane activity is the main contraries. In short, that's it, the contrary for meditative concentrations. And in order to develop the meditative concentration within oneself, one must lay it low or eradicate this clinging to mundane activity, which means on the other hand, we can say physically, avoiding physically from crowdedness and mentally from distractions. And how to avoid physically from distractions, and that we already studied. And then here we are studying that Shantideva providing all these skills and methods. So how to avoid the mental from mind from distractions. So for that, there will going to be two. So the mental distraction here, talking based on a desire emotions. So the desire. So desire distracts our mind, and the within. So the where we, how to say, to what we desire, and then mainly the mental distractions. Mainly here, Shantideva providing this. These will going to be the two objects that will going to be create the mental distractions. So the first is the partner, the gender, or the boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife. And that it is always, I'm reminding again and again, here Shantideva is not advising us to hate it each other after and the learning all this. Here mainly it's Shantideva suggesting each and every one of us to lay it low and eradicate this attachment or the craving each other's, attaching each other's, desire each other's, kind of like a sense of clinging that, oh, that one cannot live without others, like that kind of sense, that which we need to eradicate, lay it low and eradicate. That's the main purpose of all this advice. As long as we are able to remove this one and this sense, this emotion, the attachment emotion or the desire emotion, then purpose of this guideline is completed. We must remove this, that whoever have interested in developing meditative concentrations, and why we need to develop the meditative concentrations, and in order to develop our Mahayana spiritual path, in order to develop the bodhicitta, so we can achieve the final ultimate fruition, which is that we are seeking or looking for, it's enlightened. And to achieve enlightened, we need to ripen fully our bodhicitta. And without ripening fully bodhicitta and enlighten, it's impossible. And then in order to ripen the bodhicitta completely, and we must have this meditative concentrations. And then in order to have a meditative concentration, and then these are the one prevent us to develop meditative concentrations within oneself. So therefore, and this attachment needs to be laid low and eradicate eventually. And that's the all. So it is not purpose to kind of like a generate hated each other or the make enemy one and others. There's nothing to do with all of this. So this is, I'm just reminding every time to just to not to get misunderstand this guideline. And so far here that the to in order to avoid this kind of like a craving about partner, the attachment or desire about partner, and then Shantideva was here providing kind of like a mainly three skills, and each skills within inside or within each has a many different skills inside, and which are what are the mainly three skills that Shantideva recommending to us is to avoid or abandon or avoid the craving and lust towards one's partner by contemplating the hardshipness of obtaining it. That's the one. And then the abandoning or avoiding craving and lust towards partner by contemplating upon its fleetness. And then the abandoning or avoiding craving and lust towards one's partner by contemplating upon its consequences. So these are the three things. So among these three main skills, that first two we already covered, already studied until yesterday. And then now today that we are beginning to studying the third skills or the method to abandon the craving and lust towards partners by contemplating upon its consequences. That's what now from here Shantideva talks about its consequences. So how Shantideva begins? He begins with this. Tetare mizan jurbate rinme pane minye dos. Teten jube shatangdang nyala sobi never jurs. So within this one stanza, actually summarizing every consequences. This is kind of like a general, the consequences of the kind of like attaching or desiring or craving towards one's partner's consequences. This within this one stanza actually summarizing or kind of like a contains both temporary and ultimate consequences of it. That how it is translated here. So first let me read this. What's more possession of another's filth is not to be acquired free of charge. All is at a price, exhaustion in this life and in the next, the suffering of hell. So you see, this, it is kind of like the attaching or craving each other, both within a spouse, within boyfriend, girlfriend, within partners. When they attach each other, when they desire each other, when they crave each other, right? Crave each other. And that creates these consequences. Where if we do not crave or attach and desire, then we can free of these consequences. You see, it is very simple one. This all consequences is created by this craving emotion. If we able to somehow lay it low and eventually eradicate that sense of craving emotions, then even you together doesn't need to experience these all consequences. But unfortunately, that if this two person, the partner, so-called partner, as long as they crave each other, they generate this craving emotion each other, then even though you do not want these consequences will going to come to you of free of charge. It doesn't charge you anything. Free of charge, the consequences will going to come to us. You see. So here, uh, so far here what Shantideva was saying, but this so far until now, Shantideva introducing that fleetness of it, right? So fleetness of it means that fleetness of partner. Both male, female, same. It's kind of like a from it just different the point of view. Who is looking whom? If male look female, female is like that, and female look male, it's like that. But it's still we craving. So that nature fleetness, so far Shantideva introduced it until this stanza 70. And then the next 71, what it is saying, like, what is more possession of another field, right? Possession. In order to possess that field, right? We are looking to possess that. Yes, we want to possess that field. Even though this is filth, but still you won't get this free of charge. Isn't it a little bit strange? If someone, for instance, instead of this partner problem, gender problem, male, female, let's say that someone put a lot of garbage in somewhere. If I take care of that garbage and throw it on its own place or whatsoever, if I took this garbage, they won't say anything. They will let me take, right? But this garbage has a lot of issue, problem. This garbage, you cannot just take it like that. In order to get this garbage, in order to possess this garbage, or in order to take care of this garbage, which is this, I'm talking about the partner, gender garbage. It is just fleetness, right? Fleetness means garbage, actually. Filled it with the garbage. And then nice plastic bag covered. Just like that, right? But even though how much nice plastic covered the garbage, no one will going to blame on you, and no one will going to chase after you, and no one will going to say anything if you take this. But same like this other garbage, which is covered by skin, if we try to possess that, try to take care of that, then there will going to be a lot of church. I cannot get that free of charge. That where the another garbage, no one will going to, maybe they will pay you if you take it instead of charging you. Right? That is also possible, that may they pay you if you take it out. Actually, we are paying it for taking out here this every week, this truck coming. We are paying them to take this garbage. But this garbage, this partner garbage, the full of fleet, filled up with the filth. This garbage, if you want to take it, oh, me paying for it, forget it. You have to pay me to get this garbage. Me paying you, it's far. It's not possible. Instead, you need to pay me to take this garbage out. Isn't it? That's what it means. What's more possession, right? Possession of another field is not to be acquired free of charge. Oh, it has a lot of charge. What are the church? And church are all is at a price, exhaustion in this life and in the next, the suffering of hell. You see, to get this another's filth, right? To get this garbage, filth. All it is at a price, exhaustion in this life. How it makes exhaust us? I think we have experience, actually. We don't have to talk this much. How it is exhausting our energy, our time, and our wealth as well. Everything. In order to please that others, that who I love, who I fall in love, right? To please, I need to put so much effort, and I have to engage into those activities, such as for instance, like a small things, like taking her to the entertainment, and then buying some clothes and ornaments, rings, earrings, or finger rings, and so forth. There are so many things to be done. Both sides, okay, this is not just one side. Male, this is not only male does. Also female does that too. Female needs to buy some finger ring, or some sort of like a maybe gentleman suit, which makes his partner's looks better. So she can increase her emotion last. Same way, male does that to female too. Make up, fabricate it, so I can generate it more craving and more lust. So on, like that kind of things. It is exhausting, isn't it? It is really exhausting. Maybe at the beginning, even though we are exhausting, but we do not feel at the beginning for 1 month. Let's say for 1 month. We are exhausting ourselves. We will only notice when we come back home and lay on our bed. Then we will feel, oh, I really exhaust. Until that, we do not feel exhaustion while I am with her. But that is just few weeks, at most maybe 1 month. Then after 1 month, this all exhaustion is feeling very obvious way. One will feel all this exhaustion even with her now. And then I think female also the same feeling with the male. At the beginning, they don't feel exhaustion. Only they will notice this when they get back home and lay down on their bed, sleep. during the sleep time. Till that, they're distracted. This distraction, absorbing all this exhaustion, it's not really absorbing, actually. It is just there, but we are unable to feel it. And then female, I think also same. After 1 month, then this exhaustion feeling comes very obvious then. Even with the presence of that boy or man, you still feel exhaustion, which is at the beginning you do not. Now you start to feeling that exhaust very obvious. This exhaustion of energy, exhaustion of time, and exhaustion of wealth, this is all because of this craving. If we do not have this craving, maybe we don't have to feel that. Maybe we don't have to experience these consequences of exhaustion, This is really truth, right? It is just happening as soon as you engage into this partner, partner activity. Is it called partner activity or whatsoever? Huh? Courtship. As long as you engage into its courtship. It is just there. It is just natural consequences of craving about partner. If one able to uncry or do not cry or attach or desire, then maybe there's a possibility that we may not need to experience these consequences. We can skip these consequences, Therefore, it is good for both, Craving, attachment, desire is somehow we feel it is required in order to have a good relationship. That is also kind of like a somehow misunderstanding, I think. It's not really required. Without craving and attachment and desire, there is also possibility that we can still support each other. We can still help each other. But that it's not understanding. We do not have this idea. This possibility of idea is even not popping up in our mind even at one moment. That we have this great assumption that I must have this craving or attach emotion in order to help and support my partner. With this mindset, then this exhaustion is inevitable now. This is the big, that the greatest obstacles for the greatest, not greatest, I think worst assumption that we held in our mindset. That in order me to take care of my partner, in order me to support my partner, in order me to help my partner, I must have attachment towards her. I must have craving towards her. I must have lust towards her. And then also, both sides also trying to prove that I have lust towards you. I have attached towards you. I have a craving towards you. When both sides able to prove each other, they feel proud of it. That is just as silly. If you fail to prove that, one get mad. You understand? This is really happening with everyone, right? When you are in, what do you say, courtship? When we are in courtship, we are trying so hard to prove this each other, that I have attached to you and then you have attached to me. Somehow this is just a evil mind that convincing us, convincing myself, that I should prove to her that I have attached to her. You see, if I am able to prove attached to her, I feel proud, then proud. I am mad. And then woman, same. Woman also needs to prove to her own partner, husband or boyfriend or whatsoever partner, that I care about you, I crave about you, I love about you. For you, I can sacrifice everything. This is just exhaustion. This is what it is talking about, Shantideva here, exhaustion. It makes us, everyone, both sides, it is not just one side, okay? It is just both sides makes exhaustion, right? That's really fact, regardless whether at the moment we are able to implement it or not, doesn't matter. That is just reality. So if one wants exhaustion, keep continuing. Nothing else to say. If one does not want exhaustion, then maybe a little bit consider here to remove this emotion attachment, to lay it low at the moment at least. Just try to let it be, let it be. Don't hold so tight. Don't grasp so strong, right? How much we get exhaustion out of it, it's depend on how strong we grasp about it. It depend on how tight we hold it. If we try to hold tight as we try to hold, that much effect to exhaust. As loose as one tried to be, that much less exhaustion it is. So let it be. Let it be. Yeah, it is challenge. I'm not saying it is easy. But we have no other options if we do not want exhaustion. Right? This life is exhaustion, really exhaustion. Yes. The experience, I can tell this with my own experience. Exhaustion is partner. Exhausting energy, exhausting time, exhausting wealth, absolutely. Wealth is not big problem, but the energy and time, oh, it is unacceptable. That now we need to consider that what Shantideva says here. What's more possession of another's filth is not to be a quote free of church. Yeah, these are the church. They will church us. in order to take care of this filth. In short, in order to take care of this garbage. We both taking care each other garbage. Okay, it's not something one side is garbage and another is something very perfect. No, both side is garbage, and we try to take care each other's garbage. And normally taking care garbage does not have any problem. You can throw anywhere, and nobody will going to tell you anything if you take it from their property. Even you go to their property, take it their garbage, they won't say anything, right? Normally. But this garbage, oh, big issue. This garbage, if you try to take it from the other's property, historically we can prove, right? It creates war between country. For this one small disgusting garbage, millions of life has to sacrifice. It happens in the past. It is still happening today. So you see, the bottom line here, what Shantideva really saying is, even within a partner, the craving, attachment emotion, desire emotion, it's not really necessary. At the most first, absolutely, partner is unnecessary. If one unable to do that, at least try to reduce the attachment emotion. The best of the best is that one. And if one unable to do that, at least even one have partner, this attachment emotion, it's killing. And it is just exhausting both sides, both male and female, not just one side, okay? It is just exhausting whole our life. It is just exhausting our mental and also our physical too. It is exhausting our energy. It is exhausting our time. It is exhausting our wealth as well. So this is the consequences Shantideva here talks about. Now he wants us to consider or contemplate upon its consequences and then decide whether I should lay it low and eventually eradicate my craving towards my partner or not. Right? Attachment towards my partner or not. Make decision after contemplating its consequences. This is talking about within this life. It is exhaustion, right? While exhausting at the same time, we also creates the causes and conditions to suffer more in the future too. That's why this next one, and in the next, the suffering of hell. Right? While we are exhausting by holding this partner within oneself, holding this partner in deep in my mind, and that creates jealousy all the time. If my partner, even tiny, small, very small, unnecessary, that if she's talk with someone, immediately burns my mind. Right? This is jealous. And then also immediately I generate hatred towards that other guy. And then I want to fix this. And then that creates argument between partner as well as with the others. And then worse, it can be transferred into conflict, fighting, right? And then this using harsh word, these are just free of charge again. These are just comes. Even worse than using harsh word. Harsh word, if you just talk from behind, maybe okay. It doesn't penetrate anything. But in front, argue, fight, conflict for this purpose, for partner purpose, right? Husband, wife argue because of this purpose, jealous. Boyfriend, girlfriend, even more than husband, wife, I think. They fight for it because they are really new, right? This kind of like a, what do you say? This freshness is not faded yet. Huh? Yeah, honeymoon is not faded yet. So therefore, they have more jealous than as become older relation, right? But even older relation still have that jealous. It's not something that when you get 50, 60, 70 years old, your jealous will going to be fed up. No. This jealous will going to be there as long as you have crave attachment towards your partner. Okay? It is inevitable. So you see how we can avoid this jealousy and hating through laying low or eradicating the attachment towards one's partner. Craving towards one's partner will help us to lay it low and eradicate. Other than that, no way we can avoid jealousy. I want to keep attachment towards my partner, but at the same time I do not want to jealous. No. Then it doesn't work. Simply, it just doesn't work. Understand? If you're hoping in this way, it is just same that I'm hoping sun may rise from west and then set in the east, which never going to be happen, regardless what, no matter what. So this is kind of like a, if you hoping that, that becomes like a what is hope? Poreless hope. There's a one word for it. I just learned this before. Interesting. No, this word is so interesting, so I must find out. Forlorn hope.
Oh, forlorn. Oh, very sad. Very sad.
For that, if I am hoping that I can crave and attach to my partner, but at the same time I do not want to generate jealous and hatred towards anybody, then that is my forlorn hope. Never going to be happen. You see, that's how we are creating the causes and conditions for our own future suffering in a hell. Because the consequences of hated, jealous, yes, this brings down to the hell. So, same here, very simple. If I do not want to believe in hell, me better not to believe in hated and jealous. If I do not believe in hated and jealous, then I can say I do not believe hell. Hell is not exist for me then. Yes, hell is not exist for those who do not generate hatred, who do not generate the jealous. And for them, hell is not exist. Simple. And we want to say hell is not exist. but wanna hold with the jealous and hate it, then saying oh, hell is not exist become mock, laughable. It is very simple all the time, right? So that's how this craving and attachment emotion towards one's partner creates the long term problem in this way. You see, while exhausting this life simultaneously, no, thank you, simultaneously, you understand? Simultaneously. Right at this moment, I am feeling exhaustion, and right this moment, I am creating for my future suffering simultaneously. This is the consequences of having attachment and desire emotion towards partner, towards gender each other, right? Gender each other, partners each other, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatsoever. As long as we holding some grasping and attachment emotion towards any others, and this attachment will going to create these consequences. Now there's a no option. If myself do not want to experience both this temporary and ultimate consequences, then I should avoid its cause and condition, which is the craving and attachment emotion. Without avoiding these causes and conditions and hoping and willing to avoid its consequences is again forlorn hope. You see, this now stanza, it's very one big meaning, it's very summarized meaning. We can describe this whole our partner situation in here, how it makes exhaust and how it creates the problem for the future, how it exhausts at the moment and how it creates problem for the future. We can put whole our life story in this stanza. That's what Shantideva was saying, is not to be a quote free of charge. You see, it's so expensive. It is much, much more expensive than enlightenment. And it is also much more expensive than liberation as well. Even one try to buy a liberation or enlighten may not cost that much. You can buy with the less expense than this liberation and enlighten. But to buy this garbage, you have no choice rather than paying all this. Pay much more than enlighten and pay much more than liberation. And actually, we can say pay much more than anything. Look in the histories. Many of the rich become poor because of this. Both male and female, right? So this is just like that. Exhaustion is there. And then on the other hand, we're hoping that we can experience some pleasant and pleasure by this. But now Shantideva was saying the next stanza, the fact is this. The fact is this. What is this? Chipa norpel minupe tarla pabna dichi de. Norsok pai tsetugna genen debe chishijas. In the one hand, it brings all these above consequences that whatever I mentioned. And then on the other hand, okay, so in this hand, that we are trying to achieving some pleasure and pleasant by it, right? But the fact is this: to gather richness, young boys are unable, right? And what can they enjoy when they are full grown? Because their whole of life is spent in gaining wealth. And then the third option, but then they who are old, too old to satisfy their lust, too old to satisfy their desire. It's already old, cannot much satisfied by it, right? Most, when we are a kid, this doesn't help anything. This is nothing, right? The partner is nothing at that moment. And for the partner, we need a lot of wealth to buy it. It is not free of charge, right? But to accumulate the richness or to gather the richness, wealth, child, unable. That's for sure. Because child completely depend on family members, right? Parents. And then when they become adult, then they can gather the richness. But really, this partner, that whatever we are hoping to gain some pleasant and pleasure out of this partner, it's very rare because you are busy by spending time to gather all this wealth most of the time. Somehow, Shantideva, it's not saying that there's nothing else, but the time or the pleasure that which we get, and then the time that we spending to gather this, to buy this, is not really matching. The time we spend for it, it's much more than the time we getting it, actually, isn't it? And what can they enjoy when they are full grown, means adult, right? Because the whole of their life is spent in gaining wealth. We spend most of our time to gaining wealth, right? To gather the wealth, accumulate, make more money, so I can buy this more garbage. Isn't it? Right? This is really truth. Those wealthier person buying this many garbage, right? They have garbage everywhere. Both male and female, right? And to buy that, It's not free of charge. You need to gain lots of wealth. To gain a wealth, it's not easy. You have to spend your time for it. And then what you're really getting and what you're really spending for time for it, it's not worthing. Not worthing?
Not matching,
Matching?
not matching, not
Not-
equivalent.
Not equivalent, yeah.
Equivalent.
And then third option, when we get old, yeah, we almost gathered wealth already now. We have enough wealth. Like Donald Trump, right? Enough wealth. Maybe. I'm just saying maybe, okay? Maybe the someone who spends so much time in their young, their adult, their youth, gathering wealth, may they have enough wealth when they become retired, right? Because of retired pensions, pensions, and then not just pensions, but also he himself gathered a lot of money in a savings, right? Maybe when I retired, I may have wealth, but do I really enjoy partner? Can I really enjoy partner at this moment, at that time? So now this is the moment I have free of time. I have time, but I cannot really satisfy myself out of it. Then whole purpose of this gaining, according to mundane, okay? According to mundane, whole purpose of gathering all this wealth is for what? To buy that garbage. That's the outmost goal for this wealth. But at that time, you have wealth and you have time. You are free. But unfortunately, I cannot really satisfy myself enjoying it. Cannot really enjoy. You see now. That's how Shantideva now want us to contemplate upon its consequences, one part, and then contemplate upon the other side, that which we are really seeking for from this partner is this pleasure. But this really pleasure which we are seeking, how much we are getting it. While we are a child, it is useless. When we are adult, it is very useful, but we do not have time, forget it. And then when we have a time to get it, this, when we have a wealth and time, when we get old, but we cannot really enjoy it now. So Shantideva want us to contemplate upon this both side, Once it's false consequences, right? It's false consequences. False consequences? False consequences. And then on the other hand, are we really getting it, what we're really seeking out of it? You see, that's how now consequences what we will going to experience, and this is not matching at all. That's how Shantideva want us to contemplate and think, rethink, reconsider about, and then lay it low, this attachment, desire towards partner, desire within gender, right? Desire, attaching, desiring, craving, lasting within gender. That's how Shantideva was trying here to provide this methods to us to contemplate and then lay it low and eradicate. Within this two stanza, one method, one skill. And then next, Now from next, it's kind of like a the next those consequences is not necessarily to each and everyone going to be experience this. It is depend on situations and individual too. Okay, therefore it is saying someone, right? What are those consequences? Deden ngemba kachikni ninrang leji yongdupte kimdu one chebilu rodan trawa nyalwarshes. Kachik chendru nyumongtang ringdu songwe dungalchen pume doshin pume nam kyukuro lejang tongminjur. And then this two stanza is one skills to letting us contemplate upon. But that is for the some, not necessarily for each and everyone, right? And now we will check whether this is matching with my situation or not, right? Some were wretched, right? Wretched.
Richard.
Some are wretched in their great desire, but worn out by their day-long work. They go home broken by fatigue, to sleep the slumber of a corpse. Is this applicable for myself? Is this applicable for you? Yeah, but there are some, right? There are some that they work whole day long in their farm. And then when they get the dark, they exhaust, they're tired. And then because of tired, they cannot really enjoy that partner. They fall asleep like a corpse. Actually, that is the moment they should enjoy now, right? Because whole day working long, one purpose is this. But this purpose now you cannot enjoy anymore because you are exhausted, you are tired. As soon as you fall down in your bed, you actually maybe even if you're able to fall in sleep that easy, it is good. At least you are able to sleep very slumbered way. But many people even unable to sleep, right? You see, now this is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, some they are like that. Some are wretched in their great desire, and but worn out by their day-long work. They go home broken by fatigue to sleep the slumbers of a corpse. Then what's the point of day-long hard work? You cannot enjoy this partner. Right? What's the main purpose? You're missing your main purpose of day-long hard work. You see, this is how Shandit they were teasing here, right? And then on the other hand, some, wearied by their travels far from home, huh? Wearied. Some wearied by their travels far from home must suffer separation from their wives, their partners, right? Their loved one. Both sides, right? And children whom they love and long to see. They do not meet with them for years on end. Some businessmen, right? In a business trips. Actually, they want to see their partners and children's, their family members. But they have no choice because of business purpose. They need to trip, right? Travel. So, if you are travel for like months and years, what's the purpose of partner? You cannot enjoy it. Right? That's again Shantideva here teasing in this way. You see, some people, they spend their time in traveling for the business purpose, right? For those, what to do with the partner? And they are missing their purpose as again, same like that day long working in a farm. Similar, right? So, most of us in this world, either we make ourselves busy by engaging into business or into farming or into hard work, right? Work under company. Same. Working under company and working in a field farming, I think same exhaustion, right? And even some companies, oh, so hard work, right? Yeah, that my mom, I know, she worked so hard before. She told me she have to lift this heavy metal every day. Yeah, I can see her in her face or in her body that when she get back home, she exhaust. Anyway, Shantideva, whatever Shantideva here, it's saying like those very hardworking people or who engaging into business, both are actually missing the main purpose of having partner. So he letting us contemplate upon this now. Is this really worth to have attachment now? Even though, okay, let's say if one do not have attach, then maybe okay. But holding attach here, physically unable to do it, it's exhausting another again, isn't it? And then likewise, holding the attachment here last in mind, and then traveling somewhere in the world, oh, it is another trouble, another problem, isn't it? So anyhow, even to those businessmen or to those hard worker, right? Hard worker, it is still worth to detach, right? Detach, lay it low, or the eradicate the emotion, attachment emotion, craving emotion towards partner. It's very much help. When you are there, there. When you are not there, okay, you just be yourself, right? That's really helpful. That's the majority, that our majority of the world, it's living with a partner, right? But living while living together with the partner and not having attachment or craving towards each other's, it's still very healthy for both sides. It's still very good for both sides. Again, here point is talking about that, okay? So that's the second one. And then dala penden na mongbe kangden ni tu tsongwayang dema tobar den maybe shenji lejilungi tes. Now this is really Shantideva talking for those who get married and then going to the another's home. Right? That it is saying, some ambitious for prosperity, not knowing how to get it, sell themselves. Okay, here it is saying sell themselves means engagement. Okay, we engage, and then let's say my parent sending me to somebody's house to get married and stay there with them, right? That's what it means, sell themselves. Okay, that is actually, we are not using the word terms, the sell, but actually the action is very much same as selling. Exchanging, selling, exchange. But actually, you see what they're saying. And they were saying they are ambitious for prosperity. Therefore, they're sending their son or daughter to another's home to get married and settle there. They think it will going to be good for both of them, right? But not knowing how to get it, sell themselves. Happiness eludes their grasp, and pointlessly they live and labor for their master. What is this master?
The husband.
Oh yeah, that's master also. Husband also known as a master, and wife.
Well, usually it's a woman who's sold into marriage. So the masters of that would be the masters of the house, which are the
householders. Okay, so here yeah, culturally, traditionally, most of the time, females are sent it out.
Yes.
That's everywhere, right?
Yes.
That's everywhere.
Yeah.
Very rare, I think. But my dad, he came. He was sent it. Not my mom goes there. That's a different case now for me, for my family. He was sent it. Yeah, but my aunt, yes, she was sent out. She was sent out. But anyhow, so here in my family, in my case, both male and female sent it out. My father was sent it out to my family, and my aunt was sent it out to someone's family. So culturally, traditionally, everywhere in the world, I believe most of the time female goes to the male's house and then stay there, try to settle there. And then parents also sending it. Sending is that it's saying selling themselves. And then female herself also wants to go there most of the time too, right? Nowadays, I think, yeah, female, they make decision themselves most. Where in the ancient times, not much choice. But nowadays, they make themselves. They sell themselves. Yes, they sell themselves. Still, at the moment, also, like, this is interesting. You see, I have two sisters. One is sent it out. And then Hindu is come in. Look, now again, my family is always very equal. One male sent out, another female. One female sent it out, another male sent it in. Kind of like, this is very coincident. Anyhow, this is happening with my mother and my aunt, and now my two sister too. My one sister, she was sent it out, and my another sister, no, she didn't send it out. He sent it out to in. He sent it out in her family, right? That's my case, okay, but it depends on each and every individual. But actually, however, the both side, the parent, yes, ambitious for prosperity, both herself or himself feels that can be prosperity if I go there. And then parent as well, right? Everybody. That's why it is saying Dala Pende Namombe. Ambitious for prosperity, but unfortunately not knowing how to get that prosperity. To get that prosperity, sell themselves. Sell themselves. And then happiness eludes their grasp, and pointlessly they live and labor for their masters. That's really happening. Regardless whether we like to accept or not accept, doesn't matter. This is fact. It's happening everywhere. But what we really looking that prosperity, we do not gain. We do not get there. But actually what we getting there by going there is becoming labor. Slaver, actually, slaves. Actually, if we use the kind of like a worse word, then it becomes slaves. But a little bit light, labor. Labor is a little bit lighter than slaves. Somehow, there's no liberty. In bottom line, no liberty. Must obey the other's order. The husband's parents' order, or husband's uncle order, or husband's order.
And nothing belongs to you. It's all somebody else's.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter how
always. Doesn't matter how hard you work there. That's why I think nowadays this developed country made this law that if you give divorce, then automatically government will going to force give half of the wealth to the female. That's what happened in Canada too, right? Canada, America. This law is there. Australia, no. Should be there. No?
No, assets have
That's what I have heard,
they
okay?
have to be divided equally.
Huh?
Assets need to be divided, but they don't have to be divided equally.
Assets.
Assets, house, things like that. But not all cases.
Yeah, that's even though you see government made it this law for the person who comes in. For the person who comes in. But there's a zigzag way to skip that. Anyhow, so the bottom line is not really getting that ambitious for prosperity. Instead, one becomes labor for nothing and obeying all the others' order. This is really if the family members are not really harmonizing, then big problem, very big problem for poor girl or poor man, whosoever comes in, right? If the family members are a little bit considerate, maybe a little bit better, but it's still there's still problem is there. Cannot avoid this problem. So that I think so many of it, isn't it? This is all that male or female it's undergoing because of partner. If you do not long for partner, you don't have to go through these difficulties. This all difficulties you need to face, and this all order you need to obey, and one needs to be labor for that family. Actually, if you really think very carefully, that family is nothing for you. They are nobody for you. Instead, if you really want to do something, help and support, you should do your parent. They are something for you, right? But somehow you becoming labor or slave for stranger. Actually, that labor or slave or obeying you should do to your parent actually. But instead of doing to your parent, you are doing this all to some stranger that you never know before until you become adult. You have no idea who are they. But you need to become slave and labor and obey all their order. You see, why I have to obey order? Why I have to become slave? Why I have to become labor for them? Why I have to serve this stranger? Because I long for partner. That's it. Because I attach to my partner. Because I attach, I crave, I desire to that particular person. Right? This is all behind reason. This is all reason behind, isn't it? That's why you sacrificing yourself. That's why you're okay to become labor. You're okay to become slave. You're okay to become obeyer. Obeyer? Obedience. Obedient. Accepting to become obedient because of my love, because of my partner. Does it really worth? Now, this is what Shantideva wants us to contemplate again here, so we can lay to law and eradicate this attachment towards partner. Why each and every one in this world facing these difficulties, serving strangers? They serve each other's stranger all the time. And then becoming obedient. Worst, if I say, becoming slaves for the stranger, right? You never know who they are, and you just willing to go there. I may know this female, but I never know her parents, right? I never know what's attitude and behave her fathers. I never know what's attitude and behaves her mother. And I never know uncles, aunties, her siblings, brothers, sisters, right? But it's still, without knowing any information, I fully volunteered to go into that stranger home. Willingly, lovingly going there. Isn't it so stupid? if we consider carefully. Isn't it so silly? Normally, even we hesitate to go place somewhere that we don't know anything there. Even restaurant we hesitate to enter if we do not know the taste of food. Isn't it? We are that smart actually. But when it comes to this, we become fully stupid. Generally, we are human, we are intelligent, smart. Even to go to the restaurant, coffee shop, oh, we investigate thoroughly. This coffee is good, so it's better to go that coffee shop. That restaurant is delicious food. I already know, so it's worth to go there. That kind of things. We are so smart, intelligent. But that intelligence will going to be dissolved or fade when it comes to this situation. That makes blind us. That's now I think we need to. Okay, so now on the other hand, we have also this pattern, habit, very strong. Now to break down this habit, this pattern, must contemplate on this instructions, and not just contemplating but meditate, observe, not just intellectually understand this meaning, but observe, do meditation upon each stanza here, what Shantideva talks about, its consequences of attaching towards one's partner, right? That's the main thing here Shantideva talks about. Contemplate upon the consequences of attaching towards one's partner, and then decide whether it is really worth to attach or not. And this stanza is particularly for those, right, meant to those who sending here and there. Both themselves and their parent actually ambitious for the prosperity, but actually what they're getting is completely different. So now think that why I am not getting what I am ambitious, right? Why my parents ambitious is not fulfilling? Because attached to that partner. Why I am getting completely opposite rather than what I hoped for prosperity. You see here, bottom line is still it's talk about attachment, craving, desire towards partner, and lust towards partner. It's just creating problem. That is really truth. Doesn't matter whether one likes to accept it or not accept. Doesn't matter. This is it. This attachment, just as long as we are unable to control that attachment, this all consequences, whatever Shantideva introduced it to us here, it's inevitable. One must undergo then. This all consequences we can skip if we able to lay it low and eventually eradicate this attachment towards partner. Attachments within gender, craving, desire, emotions between gender, right? Partner. Then this all consequences what Shantideva introducing here that we can neglect. If we are failed to lay it low and eradicate this, then we will never going to neglect these consequences. Negate these consequences. There's no way that we can skip this. So these are the three main things. And then from here, it's not that difficult to understand. Again, I'm telling you here, we must meditate upon these meanings. These meanings, just understanding doesn't help anything, okay? Doesn't help anything. The understanding is the first step to improve, yes. Without understanding, there's nothing at all. Understanding, it is at least better than not understanding, but still not implementing it, then it is just equal having $100,000 in my bank account and then I am sleeping on the street. I have 100,000 in my bank, but I am sleeping on the street. What's the point of having this 100,000 in my account, right? It becomes like that if we do not implement, just letting it be in intellectual understanding. Then that is the similar of that example. So must implement. And in order to implement, this implementing is nothing to do. Just sit and observe all this, whatever Shantideva introduced here. It is really truth. It is really happening with me for this purpose or not. Observed it. And through that absorption, we can somehow break down this pattern, habit, gradually. It depends on how thick you built it, habit. That cannot guarantee that, okay, if you do this meditation 1 week, it will going to be break. That's not guaranteed, because it depends on how much each and every individual built it this so thick. If it is not thick, yes, it can break down within a week. But if it is thick, it may take months, years. But somehow, practicing months, years, or even lifetime for this purpose, it's worth. For being a Buddhism, this life is not ended, right? So we must go life after life. So it is always better to break down this pattern, regardless what. Whether right now able to do it or unable to do it doesn't matter, but still we have to aim this. We have to hope to break down this pattern and habit of craving partners, attaching towards partners, and clinging partners, right? And that is the biggest habit or patterns most of the people have in this world. Almost we can say like a 90% people in the world have this pattern. This is just unhealthy, simply whether one able to accept or not, doesn't matter. This is just simply, it's unhealthy. It's damaging both our mental and physical. It exhausting. Yes, that's exactly what Shantideva said before, right? It is exhausting this life. Meanwhile, simultaneously, it is also storaging the causes and conditions to experience future as well. So now contemplate those consequences. And do I really want all these consequences, regardless of whatever happened, no matter what? Do I really wanted that for the pricelessly? Do I really seeking that? Yeah, and then Lala Rangi Lu Zongxing, Wang Me Shenji Goljur Des. Chuma Da Yang Pujuna, Xinzhong Gumbar Pababchong. Okay, maybe we just stop here today. These are so interesting things that, like, avoiding attachment or desire or clinging or craving or lust towards partner by contemplating its hardshipness to obtain it, and contemplating upon its fleetness, and contemplating upon its consequences. By this meditation implementing, yes, definitely it helps us to lay it low our attachment, and eventually it will definitely helps to eradicate. So mainly aim for this, aim for it, right? And then try to implement. That's what I want to request to myself and everyone. Thank you. And now we do dedication. We dedicate marriage so we are able to success in our mission about this. Able to implement that what we learned just now. Sanam de thamje sikba nyi thomne nye ben danam thamje ne shega nanji walon tubai sibin zolen doan doar shu jambal bawe jidara kemba da kundu zambo te hang de jin de da kunjin jesun da loji gewan de da thamje rabdo ngo gewan de yeshe okun Sanam yeshe tsozo ne, sanam yeshe lechungwe, tamba kunyin tobarasho, sanje kusum nyebe chinlabdan, chunye mingyur dembe chinlabdan, gendin meche dembe chinlabki, jitarangwa melam drabarsho. By this beneficial activity, may I obtain omniscience, and having vanquished the harmful enemies, greed, anger, delusion, may I liberate all being tossed about helplessly by the waves of birth, aging, illness, and death in the ocean of becoming. By conforming to knowledge of courageous Manjushri, Jambal Yang, and in the same way as Samendapatra, Kundusangbo, and following their example, I dedicate perfectly all this virtue. By this virtue, may all being perfectly achieve the accumulation of merit, Sunam, and wisdom, Yeshe, and may they thereafter obtain the two holy bodies which result from this true accumulation. By the blessing of the Buddha Sanjay, who obtained the three bodies, by the blessing of the immutable truth of the Dharmata, Chenyi, by the blessing of the infallible aspiration of the Sangha, Gendin, may this prayer of dedication be accomplished just as it is. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Tuku.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Tuku.